Tax, Uttarakhand has become the first state in the country to roll out a uniform civil code. It is a historic move because up until now, in India, we've only had uniform criminal laws, but never had uniform civil or personal laws. Personal laws in the country pertaining to matters like marriage, divorce, succession, etc. have always been differentiated basis religion. So there's one set of personal laws for Hindus, another set of personal laws for Muslims, another set for Christians, Sikhs, etc. Uttarakhand is now paving the way for a nationwide UCC. Critics say that this will destroy the secular fabric, it will endanger personal laws, and ultimately violate the fundamental right to religious freedom guaranteed in the Constitution under Article 25. But is that a valid argument? Does that hold water? We'll put that to test through the course of this program. But first, let's bring you up to speed with what practical changes will now happen in Uttarakhand on the ground. Practices like halala, iddat, polygamy, child marriage, and triple talaq will now be completely prohibited in the state of Uttarakhand. There are some exemptions that have been mentioned in the UCC for Uttarakhand. Scheduled tribes, as mentioned under Article 342 of the Constitution, have been excluded from the civil code. Across all religions, the minimum age of marriage has been set at 21 years for boys and 18 years for girls across all religions without any exceptions. In all religions, equal rights have been given to both the husband and the wife after divorce. Additionally, remarriage while the first spouse is still alive has been completely prohibited. There's no discrimination that's being made amongst children, whether it's a son or a daughter when it comes to property rights and succession, whether they are born out of quote-unquote a natural relationship or through surrogacy or even in a live-in relationship, all offsprings will have equal share in inheritance. All children are considered to have equal rights in property. The registration of live-in relationships has been made mandatory, so it's not just getting married officially, but also if you were staying together for a period of time over a year, then you have to get the live-in relationship registered. The registrar will inform the parents or the guardians of the couples who have registered for a live-in relationship, and this information will remain completely confidential. Children who are born during a live-in relationship will also be considered legitimate offspring, and they will have all the rights of biological offspring. To prevent disputes among family members over the property of a deceased person, the law provides equal rights to the deceased wife, children, as well as parents. Let's listen in to Pushkar Dhami, the Chief Minister of Uttarakhand.
ये दिन ऐतिहासिक दिन है और ये केवल हमारे राज्य के लिए ही नहीं बल्कि पूरे भारतवर्ष के लिए आज ये बहुत ऐतिहासिक दिन है क्योंकि आज हम समाज में समानता स्थापित करने से उद्देश्य से बनाई गई समान नागरिक संहिता को देवभूमि उत्तराखंड में लागू करने जा रहे हैं और आपने मुझे कहा कि मैं निश्चित रूप से ये मेरा प्रयास है, मेरे साथ हमारे सभी साथियों का प्रयास है, हमारे सभी विधायकों का भी प्रयास है। उन्होंने भी इस विधेयक को बनाने में अपना योगदान दिया और उससे बड़ी बात कि आप सब लोगों ने ड्राफ्ट बनाने में।
So for the BJP, the UCC has been a constant on its manifesto from the time of the foundation of the party in 1980. It's a promise that they've made throughout every electoral campaign. So what are the national ramifications that Uttarakhand's implementation of UCC will have? It sets a legal precedent, like I said, the first state to do so outside of Goa. It encourages other BJP states, particularly Gujarat, Assam, there's even talk in Maharashtra, to follow suit. It will, of course, spark a nationwide debate and push for a common civil code across the country, aligned with Article 44 of the Constitution, which says that the state shall endeavour to secure the citizen a uniform civil code throughout the territory of India. This move could also standardize laws when it comes to marriage, divorce, inheritance, and that could promote a secular approach across the country, irrespective of which religion a person hails from. Resistance from communities that value cultural or religious practices or personal laws may lead to polarized debates on identity and freedom. This push for a uniform set of civil laws will likely face legal challenges. It could test personal laws versus the constitutional rights that have been enshrined under Article 25 and the right to freedom of religion. Court rulings could shape future state-level UCC implementation as well. They may not be a one-nation civil code that will be passed by Parliament. It could be left to individual states, as in the case of Uttarakhand. The BJP's push for UCC may be seen as political leverage, particularly if it comes around the time of elections, which are slated. So, what then are the global examples? Is India the first country in the world to have a common civil code? What about countries around the world? Here's a look at least 4 big democracies around the world. France, since the time of the French Revolution, has had a strict secular civil code known as the Napoleonic Code, which applies uniformly to all citizens of France, regardless of which religion they belong to. The United States has a uniform civil code. It again applies to all citizens, irrespective of race or religion. There are no separate personal laws that are based on race or religion in America. In Germany, there is a uniform civil code which governs all citizens, again, irrespective of what religious affiliation they belong to. In Japan, too, there is a single civil code that applies to all citizens. There are no separate laws that are based on religion. So the question then is, why does the opposition in India think that if all of these democracies, big liberal democracies, can have a uniform civil code, why then do they think that in India it will destroy the fabric of democracy?
ये बीजेपी की सरकारें कहीं पर निगाह है, कहीं पर निशाना, तो धर्म के नाम पर इनको टारगेट करना है किसी भी धर्म विशेष को। तो ये यूसीसी लागू कर रहे हैं, राज्य सरकार वहाँ लागू कर रही है। यूसीसी लागू करने के पहले आम सहमति बनानी चाहिए, सभी के राय लेनी चाहिए, ये मनमानी नहीं चल सकता है।
तो भाई कौन सी जाति, कौन से धर्म के यूनिक प्रैक्टिसेस नहीं है, पहली बात तो ये। एक्सेप्शंस आप कैसे डिसाइड कर रहे हैं कि किसका यूनिक है, किसका नहीं है? जो उत्तराखंड की आपने बात करी, पहला राज्य, आप कैसे डिसाइड करेंगे? उस राज्य में हर अलग अलग प्रांत के लोग आते हैं। हाउ आर यू गोइंग टू डिसाइड? आप कैसे तय करेंगे कि कौन उत्तराखंड का है, कौन नहीं है, किस पे लागू होगा, किस पे नहीं लागू?
All right, so Uttarakhand becomes the first state in the country to implement a uniform civil code. Is there a case for a nationwide uniform civil code? Joining us now is senior Supreme Court lawyer, former minister in the NDA government, Meenakshi Lekhi. Thank you very much, ma'am, for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. Critics against the UCC argue that it fundamentally violates Article 25, the right to practice religion, the freedom of religion article. How would you counter this and make the case for a nationwide set of uniform civil laws?
So to the critics, I would say they have to go over many judgments passed by the Supreme Court at various points in time post-independence, and also the constitutional provision of directive principles of state policy. At that point, when we got independent and constitution was written, at that point itself, there was a dream that one day country will come together and basically pass uniform civil code. And so far as the history of uniform civil code is concerned, let me correct you a little, that uniform civil code in another form exists in Goa, and which is pre-independence period, and that has continued. So if a state in India pre-independence period to post-independence period can actually work it and actually enact it, where is the problem in rest of the states? And if there is a problem to have nationwide uniform civil code, then let it be state chosen methodology of each state acting because it's also governed by the states to bring uniform civil code. And yes, definitely I am all for nationwide uniform civil code.
One area of contention that people have raised about the Uttarakhand UCC that's been passed today, and it's a law there in that state, is about the reporting or the registration of live-in relationships, which has been made mandatory, and that children born out of a live-in relationship will be deemed as legitimate heirs to the father or the mother. Again, how would you counter the argument that this is the state trying to be intrusive?
No, state is not trying to be intrusive. You see, there are all kinds of relationships which exist, and I'm not going to get into the morality or ethics of it. And under those circumstances, children can be born without the wedlock, out of the wedlock, not from the wedlock, but out of the wedlock. Now, do those children deserve decent treatment? Yes, because it was not up to the children to choose their parents or their lifestyle. Now, whatever be the lifestyle, parents need to be made responsible, and parentage needs to be established for any right of the child to be established further. So far as registration is concerned, the registration becomes important from the point of view of recognizing a relationship, a stable relationship, a long-term relationship, and intention towards formulating a formal relationship. Now, any result of that relationship, and pregnancy being one of them, has to be given its due under the law, and for that reason, registration becomes important. I mean, I can't speak more, but as I said in the beginning, there are all kinds of relationships in the world, and there could be pregnancy out of those relationships. Those relationships cannot be equalized with the relationship where there is an intention between two people who wish to live together, and whether it's intercaste, it's interreligious, it's all kind of other socio-economic issues which exist in the society. So it's basically acting as a protective law and protecting the rights of the women and also the rights of the children, who
All right.
are a vulnerable community in this country
All right.
or anywhere else also.